Hi, this is Anna Imagination with a Healing Garden, and welcome to Shifting Perspectives and Triadic Healing. I am really looking forward to this particular chapter. The reason why is because of its title, Internalizing the Ethics, Deep Learning, Understanding. This has been an issue I personally have had with traditional therapy from day one. And I finally have the argument to prove that what they do and what they believe is bullshit. So I'm very, very happy about this. Here's the argument. When you learn something, you gain information, and there is basically it going into your cognitive core, it goes into your belief system, and either you understand it or you don't. When you are in math class, when you are in any subject, and you're given all of the data you're given, you have information that goes in, and you can memorize that information. But there's a difference between memorizing the answers and internalizing the answers. When you memorize the answer, you are using redundancy to just put data into your brain, and you will forget it. You will forget it. But internalizing is a type of learning that is only accessible when you understand it. That is theoretical learning. I am so happy for this particular course right now. When I went through therapy, now I walked in with 20 years of psychology. So I was going through the process with them, and they were doing a really piss poor attempt at something called Socratic method. And they were using Socratic method without proper structure or knowledge on Socratic method, to the point where I didn't even know they were trying to do Socratic method. And I finally figured it out. And I was like, oh, that's what you're doing. Yeah, you're doing it wrong. And you're supposed to use Socratic method with logic and formal argument and debate. That's what you're supposed to be doing. When this is executed properly, then you internalize it, and you have a eureka moment, and you learn it. This is really important. This is awesome. Inside of your beautiful brain, it's like you have a vial, and this vial literally fills up with information. Now, it keeps filling up and filling up and filling up. As you think and you process, we all stare off into a fixed point of space while we drift away. While we are doing this, our visualization center is shutting down, which is why we stare off into space, because we are processing in the cognitive core. As we do this, this little vial fills up. Now, as soon as you get it up to the top, boop, the eureka moment happens. There is a hormone dump. Your perspective shifts, and you understand shit. You understand shit on such a level. You get it. It's not often that we get this. In science class, you'll be sitting there doing it and you're memorizing facts and you're trying to put it all down. But there will be that moment where you finally, it pops and you go, oh my God, I understand it, because you've internalized it. Now, let's get back to the therapy room. So you're in therapy, you're going through everything with your psychologist or with your therapist, and they're trying to use Socratic method and logical formal argument and debate. And it takes a long time. Years will go by. Slowly, this thing fills up, and you'll finally reach a point where this will pop and you'll go, I understand. And that is when your trauma changes. That's when you rewire your nervous system. So after a couple times with me, I asked my therapist about this process, and I said, why don't you just tell me this shit? And she says to me, because you have to internalize it. Well, what does that mean? And they could answer. When you have somebody who struggles with addiction, there's the belief that they have to hit rock bottom for change to happen. And yet, if you look at the percentages of people who hit rock bottom and die, it is so absolutely off the charts that that concept is inconsistent. If it's inconsistent, it's wrong. So, no, a person does not need to hit rock bottom to change. A person needs to internalize in order to change. But how do you internalize? What is the difference between internalizing and learning? When this is it. This is it right here. With learning, you're given information and you memorize it, but you don't understand it because you don't understand the logic, because you don't understand the big picture, because you don't understand the cognitive core and its processing. To internalize it, you need to know what's going on with your cognitive core and processing and how all of that lines up so you can understand the big picture. That is what is going to get you the eureka moment. That is what's going to fill up this little vial. Is as you learn information, you are going to be staring off into space. Your cognitive core and your visual, I'm sorry, not your cognitive core, your cognitive function and your eyesight, your visual is going to shut down while you sink into processing. It's a very numbing state of just fuzzy buzzing happening in your head. It's when you get that fuzzy buzzing. And that's when somebody usually comes along, looks at you in the face and says something like, "Hey, what you doing? Why are you staring at something?" And you jar and you're like, "Wait, what?" And you've got to reestablish because they interrupted your vial filling. Oh my God, I hate that feeling. It is easily the worst feeling in the world for me. Like I've explained this to my children. And when I stare off at a fixed point in space, I am processing and I am not to be talked to because being interrupted while you are in the processing, oh my God, does it hurt? Oh my God, it is one of the most painful things for me. So that being said, internalizing is when you understand something. Now, when I do public speaking, one of the things that I'm confronted about on is, can you give a speech? Can you speak on a professional level about your area of expertise? And this is the difference between a professional and an amateur. An amateur can memorize shit and regurgitate it back. I cannot memorize. I cannot memorize. I internalize. I understand this shit. So when I give a speech on triadic healing, I improvise every one of my speeches because I'm talking about it because I know this shit. I know this shit because I've internalized it. I've internalized it because I understand it. So, what a therapist is trying to do for you is get you to understand your trauma by using their botched variation of Socratic method with logical and formal argument and debate, but they don't know how to do that. And instead, you're given a little bit of information, but it's the blind leading the blind while you try and figure out what it is you're supposed to be doing, but you can't figure out what exactly it is you're supposed to be doing. And you're confused and you are focused instead on what was done to you instead of you understanding what's going on inside your head. Once you understand what's going on inside your head, you will understand it. And when you understand it, you internalize it. And that is when you have the eureka moment because this vial is now filling up. You get that beautiful pop at the top and you understand. Now you've internalized it. When you internalize it, you know it. And that is when the rewiring in the back of your head is completely done. Your spinal cord shifts. It feels itchy sometimes, and you've rewired your nervous system. That is what we're going to be doing with you. I am going to be walking you through the cognitive core processing and its system to teach you how to internalize all of this shit. That way, you get it, you understand it, so you can process it. That is how you do this shit. It's awesome. And it's different. Now, here's the problem. Back to when I was in therapy and I'd walk in and I'd say, "Why didn't you just give me the shit?" And they would say, "Well, we want you to internalize it. If I just give you the answer, you're not going to know it." But that's all they could say. If I just give you the answer. No. There's a whole lot of other shit that has to take place here. They're not giving you the answer in therapy because they don't understand how processing works. Because they don't live inside their subconscious minds for 32 years watching the cognitive core actually take place. So that is why they actually don't give you the answer, because they don't understand how to get to the answer, because they don't know themselves. So they don't know how to get you to internalize versus understand, which is why traditional therapy does not work. It's because they do not understand the cognitive core and its processing, because I have not told them yet. I'm working on it. That being said, when you go through this, we are going to be going over internalizing the ethics. You must understand the ethic. Memorizing the ethic is not going to work. There is no shortcut here. And this is something we're going to go over and over again. When I teach you self-comfort, when you start going through all the processes that you need to learn self-comfort, if you do not internalize the ethic, it's not going to work. You must internalize. To do that, you have to understand the why and the what. And to do that, we're going to have to walk you through the cognitive core and its processing to get you to that point. Once we do that, you will understand so you can internalize it. That way, you're not just getting information and memorizing it, you're actually understanding it. So I'm going to be starting by giving you a big picture and then condensing it down, condensing it down, condensing it down. I do this with bite-sized pieces, which is exactly what all these videos are. Sometimes there's going to be worksheets, which is available over in the syllabus. You can grab the articles and you can go that way with them. By accumulating all of this knowledge, you are absolutely learning all of the parts of your 6-part mental system, and you are learning all the tools required. That way you can do your shadow self work, and you are learning how to train your ego conscious awareness to manage your 6-part mental system, while you are using your self-care regimen program to nourish and revive your self-sailing system, which is your identity, your ego, and your intuition, while you are restoring your defense system. As we do that, you use self-comfort to soothe your fear system and sedate the fear system, while using all the tools required through Triadic Healing to discipline your subconscious mind, so your subconscious mind can manage the cognitive core processing effectively. Welcome to Triadic Healing. If you love shit like this, like, subscribe, follow below, click on the link below, and tell me what part of the movie absolutely resonated with you. Donate to the garden, help the garden grow. And if you want to jump in and learn Triadic Healing, grab the Get Started. There's a link down below, and it's all free. Go ahead and roll. We do have the option for you to become a member, where you can join our integration workshop, and you also have the ability to become a one-on-one client with me, and you'll get a full walkthrough with us as well. The information is below. Thank you so much, and may the kindest of words always find you.